How to Manifest Your Desires by Neville Goddard. I've done a number of discussions on Neville Goddard's book, and the premise is assuming the wish fulfilled and the power behind it. So let's start off by reading this quote, and let's go into some discussions on the various elements of this book. If there is something tonight that you really want in this world, then experience in imagination what you would experience in the flesh. Were you to realize your goal, and then deafen your ears and blind your eyes to all that denies the reality of your assumption. Deafen your ears and blind your eyes. So we're not talking about indifference here. We're talking about something very profound. If you have a vision of creating something in reality, and when you look around reality, you'll see that everything as far as evolution, scientific breakthroughs, technology, anything that has evolved the species is a net result of a vision of a person and their ability to hold that vision till it's manifested in reality. And they had choices. They could assume and take in information that is empowering to feed their vision, to bring forth the actions and the behaviors and the various influences in the environment and the energy to make it so. Or they could choose to surround themselves with disempowering information that lowers their self-esteem and self-confidence, and as a result creates friction and probably results in never manifesting that which is their vision. So the goal is to support our vision with empowering information that supports it. Understand that we live in a world today where there's abundance of information, and everywhere you go, you're going to find information that supports your vision or information that moves you away from your vision. You can feel it. When you listen to somebody communicate, when you read a book, when you watch a video, when you consume any kind of information, when you find yourself in an environment, you can feel within your awareness if that information is supportive to you. If that information is disempowering you, understand something very important. And we've discussed this extensively through the various subconscious mind-related information. That information is going into your subconscious mind and programming you to pay attention to more information that is related to it. In other words, if you have a vision and then you go out and you consume disempowering information, that disempowering information is going into your subconscious mind, and your subconscious mind can't tell the difference between right or wrong. It just accepts. And by consuming that information, the subconscious mind gets programmed to look for more of that information. And as a result, you have dissonance, cognitive dissonance. You have issues manifesting your reality because you have internal anxiety, turmoil, and stress because of the contrarian nature of what you are feeding your mind. So thus, we want to remember that, and we want to guard our mind. Let's talk about 4 parts of the book and different elements related. Consciousness is the one reality. Man is incapable of seeing other than the contents of his own consciousness. If I now become detached in consciousness from this room by turning my attention away from it, then I am no longer conscious of it. There is something in me that devours it within me. It can only live within my objective world if I keep it alive within my consciousness. Whatever you put your attention on, whatever you look at, whatever you pick up within your senses, that is what you believe is reality. What you see and what you put your attention on, you give energy to, and it multiplies. If what you're paying attention to is something that is not in alignment with your vision in some shape or form, it's important to realize that it's revealing to you about yourself. And actually, everything that you have within your awareness is revealing to you about yourself. And the goal is to assume the wish fulfilled. That's the premise of the work. And to do that means that you keep your mind on your vision. And when you look at everything in reality, you observe how it's helping you understand about yourself and your ability to create your vision. The goal is to see everything as helpful and supportive of your vision. Now, a person that has a great ability to do this can transform meaning real time. They can look at a disempowering situation like rejection, or I say disempowering only because maybe a lot of people might feel that way, and turn it into one of faith and confidence and information gathering as far as opportunity goes. Okay, everything that denies you reveals to you about yourself and your alignment and what you need to do to bring forth your reality. Everything is actually on your side. Now, if there's something in me that devours it within me, it can only live within my objective world if I keep it alive within my consciousness. So, what you pay attention on and the meaning you give to it is going into your subconscious mind. And then from there, you are focusing on certain things that as you navigate reality, as you go about your world, the waking world, your attention goes over there and further is kept alive. So this is some interesting thing here, because if we really focus on this, we can really put emphasis on the key areas that bring forth our desires, manifesting our desires. Number one is the vision, realizing the vision comes from beyond. And when you have a vision that is designed to bring forth in reality abundance, prosperity, happiness for yourself, for others, and evolve, that this is a divine vision. And the goal is to create this vision. And we do it by consuming supportive information related to this vision. And anything that you consume is further emphasizing and building that confidence and faith and the burning desire towards the vision, and thus amplifying your ability to work with the energies and the elements of the environment to make it so. Or you are consuming information, or you're paying attention to things that go against what I'm talking about. The choice is yours. But the bottom line is this: wherever your attention goes, that's consciousness. Okay, in the book Letting Go, and we did the discussion on David Hawkins' work, we talked about levels of consciousness, as we talked about that in Power versus Force. The higher the consciousness, the greater the awareness, the greater your ability to understand. So when you come across information like this, and you hear me communicate and discuss information like this, as you go through your journey and you come back to this information, you'll have a greater understanding and awareness as to what I'm talking about right here. This will have more meaning, greater depth. And that's why I'm a huge fan of reading the same book, like Think and Grow Rich, over and over again. Because as you realize that, and that's what's the premise of Think and Grow Rich, think and grow rich, where you put your attention on, and how you maintain that attention, the energy that you maintain that attention, which is one of confidence and faith, brings forth the reality. The entire book just talks about that. As you consume information like that, it further emphasizes what I'm talking about. And then you're going to become very aware as to where you put your attention and realize the implications of that. And that where your attention goes, and your attention is very valuable. Look at this in reality for a moment. Advertisers, just about everybody wants your attention because your attention is valuable. That's where companies spend, millions of dollars on advertising to get your attention, to persuade you that what they have is in the best interest for you. And it may or may not be. But awareness of this is power. Okay? Understanding that whatever takes your attention away is revealing to you about yourself. And you want to ask yourself, and you want to maintain the control and say, how do I get myself to focus on that which brings forth my vision? That's very important. Because what you focus on, that's reality. That's consciousness. That's what you are creating. And it's coming from you, within you. Simply remove your attention from the region of sensation, which at this moment is the room around you, and you concentrate your attention on which you want to put in its place, that which you want to make real. So whatever you see in your reality, you have a choice where you can put your attention. And if you don't like what you see, if it's not in alignment, you can go within and put your attention on what you want to see. You can focus, you can visualize, and that will bring forth, it will recalibrate your subconscious mind to look for those things in reality. In concentrating on your objective, the secret is to bring it here. You must make elsewhere here and then and now. So you have to believe that it is here. We're going to talk about fourth dimensional thinking in a moment, but the goal is this. You have to assume the wish fulfilled. You have to bring it into the now. And you have to do it from a certain energy, a lighthearted energy, which we'll talk about in a moment. Imagine that your objective is so close that you can feel it. Recalibrating yourself, reorienting yourself. There's a simple formula for changing the future, which was discovered by the ancient teachers and given to us in the Bible, and can be proved by all. Step number 1 in changing your future is desire. That is, define your objective, know definitely what you want. I'm a huge fan of the Robert Dilts model. If you look at the Robert Dilts model on the top, you'll see vision. And it's important to create your vision boards, know specifically and exactly what it is that you want. And then what you want to do, second, construct an event in which you believe would encounter following the fulfillment of your desire, an event which implies fulfillment of your desire, something which you have the action of self predominant. So the idea behind this is imagine yourself already experiencing the success. So if you want to become a great public speaker, imagine an audience clapping and applauding you for an amazing presentation that brought them a lot of value. If you want to create success and you're a musician, for example, imagine playing in a concert where everybody receives you well and is applauding and cheering as a result of a successful performance. If it's an entrepreneurial venture and you want to bring it into reality, imagine others experiencing the value of the software or whatever it is that you're creating and the great benefit and how they're so eager and excited to pay you for the service that you want. Experience that feeling in your mind. Construct it. The third step is to immobilize the physical body and induce a state akin to sleep. Then mentally feel yourself right now into the proposed action. Imagine all the while that you are actually performing the action here and now. So imagine what we talked about, here and now. You must participate in the imaginary action, not merely stand back and look on, but feel that you are actually performing the action so that the imaginary sensation is real to you. Now, why are we doing this? One of the reasons why is because this programs the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind does not differentiate what is real and what is not. It takes experiences and assumes it to be so, and then goes and brings about more of that in your reality like theater. I always say this. So by emotionalizing, visualizing, and feeling that outcome, that desired outcome as a result of success, and repeating the process over and over again, you recalibrate your mind. You'll notice where your attention goes is different. And wherever your attention goes, if you do this with enough intensity, and I speak from experience in this, you're going to look at everything that appears from your consciousness and see how it's actually helping you towards your goal. You're going to create meanings about your reality that are far different than the meanings that other people give to reality. See, most of us, when we look at reality and we experience our senses, we go around and we ask people what it means. And what they really tell us is what it means to them. And most people kind of gather around and say, this is how the meaning works, and they give a collective meaning to something. The truth is this, is you can give whatever your experience is of reality through your senses, your own meaning. And what we want to do is we want to give it a meaning of empowerment, one that moves us towards our vision. Because if we don't do that, we will lower our self-esteem, our self-confidence, and that will go into our subconscious mind and will make exercises like this harder, number one. And number two, it'll bring more experiences in our consciousness that are a reflection of low self-esteem and low self-confidence. Assumptions harden into fact, okay, as perfect in alignment as what we're talking about. Although man may not be able to stand physically upon a state, he can always stand mentally upon any desired state. By standing mentally, I mean that you can now, this very moment, close your eyes and visualize a place other than your present one and assume that you are already there. You can feel this to be so real that upon opening your eyes, you are amazed to find that you are not physically there. So if you do this with enough intensity, and you can practice this, we have the ability to practice this. When you open up your eyes, you're like, wow, I can't believe I'm not here. I imagined it. It was so real. But as mentioned, by doing that, you're programming the subconscious mind because your subconscious mind does not know the difference. This mental journey into the desired state with its subsequent feeling of reality is all that is necessary to bring about its fulfillment. Your dimensionally greater self has ways that the lesser or three-dimensional you know not of. Furthermore, to the greater you, all means are good which promote the fulfillment of your assumption. Remain in the mental states defined as your objective until it has the feeling of reality, and all the forces of heaven and earth will rush to your aid, its embodiment. Your greater self will influence the actions and words of all who can be used to aid the production of your fixed mental attitude. The idea is this, is that the more you can focus on your vision and make it real in your mind, you will create the state, as Napoleon Hill talked about, called the burning desire. And as a result of creating the burning desire, when you open up your eyes and you navigate reality, you bring with you that energy and that charge. Other people can feel it. And you know this. If you're sitting in a room and somebody walks in with a lot of faith and confidence, they don't even need to open their mouth. You can feel it. And when you bring this within yourself, you bring that kind of energy by building it up in yourself, others will feel it. And you'll notice that more and more people are gravitating towards you who pick up on this, who want to be part of your vision. And that's not just to be said about people, but other elements and insights and different kinds of just pieces in the external world that will now be attracted to you to bring forth your vision. It's very magnetic. Think about in a moment where you felt this, when you were around somebody that had so much drive and vision towards creating a reality. Maybe you heard it in their voice. Normally, when you're around individuals like this, when you hear them communicate, you feel uplifted and inspired yourself. You want to join their cause. You want to participate, and that what it does, it brings forth and gives you meaning in your life and helps you realize the power of these things that I'm talking about yourself. There's a lot to this. When you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, it is with a minimum of effort. You must control the direction of the movements of your attention, but you must do it with the least effort. If there is effort in the control, and you are compelling it in a certain way, you are not going to get the results. You will get the opposite results, whatever they may be. There's a saying, whatever you resist persists. So if you create in your mind a vision of the success that you want, but it's infused with this anger and tense energy, then you're putting out that energy when you open up your eyes and you navigate reality. And that's going into your subconscious mind, which is going to attract more of that energy. What we want to remember is the three elements from the discussion I did on the charisma myth by Olivia Cabane. I'll put a link in the description. Power, presence, and warmth. Power being the direction, knowing specifically what it is that you're creating. Presence, being here in the now, a feeling in the now, being present. Having faith brings you in the present. Someone who doesn't have a lot of faith, you'll find them thinking about the past or not really valuing and having gratitude for the present moment. And they're in the future somewhere, but they're not really here. That's usually a sign of lack of self-confidence. Someone with a high level of self-confidence, you feel their presence. You feel it. And then warmth. Okay, not forcefulness, warmth. A calm confidence. Faith is actually a form of calm confidence. Okay, knowing that what it is that you're looking to create is going to manifest. And that everything in reality is teaching to you about yourself. One of the things that I do is I carry around a pad and paper during my workday, and I'm always taking notes about myself. Some of you might be following me on Instagram, and if you're not, I recommend you do so because I share a lot of these insights on my Instagram on a daily basis, different notes that I take that I gather about myself, but what I've realized is what everybody else is experiencing. In fact, when I work with my consulting and coaching clients, I realize that a lot of the sticking points and the things that they're experiencing are the same things that I'm experiencing that I'm in the process of overcoming. And as a result, I could share with them the insights and perspectives to help them overcome. So we're essentially all one. Okay? All is one, and we're all going through the same things, just in different ways. And we assume that the other person is going through something totally different, or our situation is totally unique, but it's the same thing, just in different kind of perspectives, different kind of life experiences. So what we really want to do is we want to reflect, reflect and see what's really going on as a result of what kind of energy we're putting out. And as a result of that, we want to calibrate. We want to recalibrate our energy so that when we're visualizing and we're putting emphasis and dedicating time to do this exercise, assuming the wish fulfilled, we're doing it in a way that's putting out a certain kind of energy that when we go through reality, we're looking for, and most of it, as I mentioned, will be done subconsciously, for elements that match that expression of energy that we work with, essentially magnetic to that which we're putting out, that will help us bring forth our vision. So you have to do this right. And when he says least effort, if you go about things in a tense way, and I realized this in my journey in entrepreneurship. When I built my IT business, I went about things a very tense way. And while I was able to create success, it stressed me out and made me a very kind of tense and angry person. And then as I evolved into other businesses after that, I realized that I can get way more success with joy and fulfillment. And now, looking at everything I do, I feel that it's contributing to what I want to achieve in my life as far as my goals, my aspiration, my experiences in life, which I cherish and enjoy. It helps others, as well as it brings upon a manifestation of divine will or evolution, you can say. And the way I go about doing everything every day is a lot more of a calmer energy and a lot more confident energy, but the results are even greater. So I could speak to this from experience. The minute you begin to discipline your mind by observing your thoughts and watching your thoughts throughout the day, you become the policeman of your thoughts. Refuse to enter into conversations that are unloving. Refuse to listen attentively to anything that tears you down. As mentioned, all that information is going into your subconscious mind, and it's distorting your vision, or it is reducing the power and energy that you are projecting outwards to create your vision. You have to protect your mind. Okay? You have to observe your thoughts, and you have to protect your mind. Now, you get better at this with practice. As mentioned, I carry a pad and paper, and I'm noting and I'm aware of the different things in my environment that I'm experiencing, people, circumstances, and so forth, and asking myself, what is this telling me about myself? What is it revealing to me? And again, referring back to the Robert Dilts model, what is this revealing to me about my clarity or lack thereof of my vision? What does it tell me about my identity, deep identity? You know, we talked about this when we discussed how to be your own best friend and what to say when you talk to yourself. Deep identity level stuff, your self-image, also covered in Maxwell Maltz's book, Psycho-Cybernetics. What is it telling me about my values and beliefs, my capabilities, my behavior? What is the environment telling me about myself? Because the environment is revealing what you are creating based of the visions, the thoughts, the elements in your conscious way of thinking and in your subconscious mind. You can actually talk to your subconscious mind by revealing in the external world circumstances and realizing and connecting back by reflecting back on all the discussions we have, what it means. So in a way, your subconscious mind is kind of talking to you, and your subconscious mind might not necessarily talk to you in words, although some experience reality like that, but it talks to you by the revelations. And you can realize the meaning you're giving to the different experiences by observing the revelations in your environment. Think fourth dimensionally. To the natural mind, reality is confined to the instant called now. This very moment seems to contain the whole of reality. Everything else is unreal. The natural mind, the past, and the future are purely imaginary. In other words, my past, when I use the natural mind, is only a memory image of things that were. And to the limited focus of the carnal or natural mind, the future does not exist. The natural mind does not believe that it could revisit the past and see it as something that is present, something that is objective and concrete to self. Neither does it believe that the future exists. So the goal is to fuse everything, past, present, and future, as one. Okay, see it as one. Believe it and feel it as one. So we do this through the exercise, assuming the wish fulfilled, following the process of the exercise. And then as we go about reality, remember our subconscious mind is manifesting reality as we go, and we're giving different meaning to experiences. A lot of these experiences come from our past. That's why I recommend studying things like timeline regression and just really learning about how different past experiences, Sigmund Freud and Carl Jung studied extensively on this, different past experiences, especially from childhood, especially with our relationships with our parents, are recreating scenarios like theater, revealing to us about ourselves. And until we go in and make peace with these areas and feel love towards everything that has happened to us in the past, we're going to keep manifesting elements in our reality because the subconscious mind has that fear, that anger and hatred from the past, and it's bringing it forth. But when you can go in and realize that all is one, so you can go back to your past in your mind and you can change the meaning, you can change the story. This is some really powerful stuff. I've done a lot of work on myself where I went back to past traumatic experiences when I was younger and rewrote the meaning and created new visual imagery to take its place. And now, as a fact, I believe that visual imagery to have actually happened. As fact. If you ask me how did that story play out, I say it played out in a different way than for many years I believed that it played out. Now, what was the power of that and why did I do it? The power is that now I feel a greater sense of confidence and I know I'm not orienting myself and manifesting any of those past scenarios. I literally observed as my reality has changed to not manifest those scenarios that kept coming back from my past. This is a powerful exercise and I recommend working with someone that could help you with this, because if you can do this, then what you will really know is how this fourth dimensional stuff works. Infusing the past, present, and future, making it all one. Imagine that you were born again, literally born again, with the knowledge and understanding of everything that I've shared with you on this channel. And you never had any disempowering experiences from your past. And you were so conscious and aware, and you were only surrounded by empowering information, and you knew what information you could surround yourself with. And actually you do right now. It's just that maybe subconsciously you find yourself reorienting through negative information based on past experiences that are lodged in your subconscious. So you have the knowledge, you have the ability, except now you don't have the past experiences that hold you back. How will you behave? You'll probably act with a lot of confidence. You'll probably act with a lot of faith. You'll probably project an energy that is so powerful that will attract exactly. For example, in relationship experiences, a lot of times we tend to fear rejection from our past relationships, and thus we don't have healthy relationships moving forward because we're afraid from past experiences instead of looking at it and saying, what have we learned? How much have we grown? And I have absolute faith that I will attract somebody to be in a relationship with that I can build on the foundation of what I've learned. And it's going to be positive based on my vision. So that's infusing past, present, and the future. Positive vision from the future. Rewriting the stories of the past that's in alignment with the future. And visualizing and experiencing in the now. So if you didn't have the past experiences or they're rewritten, when you go and connect with people, you actually treat the relationship like a clean slate. You don't bring baggage from the past. To the Christ mind, the spiritual mind, which is our language, we will call the fourth dimension focus. The present, the past, and the future of the natural mind are a present whole. It takes in the entire array of sensory impressions that man has encountered, is encountering, and ever will encounter. I really want you to meditate about that. I really want you to reflect upon that. And I really want you to make a commitment that you're going to become in alignment. Okay, you're going to do the exercise, but you're going to also navigate reality and find where there's incongruence between the past, present, and the future. And make it all one. Now, easier said than done because this is a journey. Okay? This is the journey of life. This is one of the lessons that we came here to learn. So practice this on a regular basis. Refer back to this book and this video so it adds deeper meaning and understanding as you evolve. And as you evolve, you'll understand what I'm talking about even more. And remember this, I'm on this journey as well, and I'm continuously understanding this more and more each day. As your mind is cleansed from your former concept of self, you assume you are what you want to be and remain faithful to this assumption. You give form to your assumption or resurrect your child. Now, this is some powerful stuff. Remember when you were a child and you believed everything was possible and you acted in faith? Now, you might not have the knowledge and experience of how reality works, so you made mistakes, but you were taught it was bad to make mistakes, and all the shame and guilt comes from making mistakes. And then you grow up very stiff and stifled, and you kind of navigate reality like a robot at a certain point. Okay? The goal is to go back to that childlike, free state, the world of possibilities, the world of imagination. But now bring this higher level of wisdom that you've acquired as a result of becoming an adult. Man is a psychological being, a thinker. It is not what he feeds upon physically, but what he feeds upon mentally that he becomes. We become the embodiment of that which we feed upon. Remember this. Go back to your past, take inventory, overcome the disempowering beliefs, rewrite the meaning from your past. Understand that the visions that you have from your future, the empowering visions, are that which you can make manifest. And a lot of times your past holds you back. And do the exercise and visualize it as the now. And observe your reality start to look different. There's a saying, one of my favorite sayings. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. What we're talking about here is changing the way we look at reality. Reality will start to look different. We're changing the way it looks. And the power is this, is from this place, you can choose, and you'll notice this to a higher degree now that we've had this discussion, we've gone deeper into it. You're going to have a better ability to consciously choose what kind of information that you're taking in. Because now you're more aware. Your consciousness has gone up. In fact, the more you listen to this, the more your consciousness will go up. Because I've incorporated elements from the understandings and experiences that I've gathered from David Hawkins' work on levels of consciousness. And we have the power to raise our consciousness. And when we raise our consciousness, we get better educated. We understand better. We learn about ourselves. We have a greater compassion and empathy towards others to realize that we're all in this together. We're all doing this. We're all experiencing this. Feast on the idea. Become identified with the idea as though you were already that embodied state. Walk in the assumption that you are what you want to be. If you feast on that and remain faithful to that mental diet, it will crystallize it. You will become it in this world. You can either be attentive to the limitations and feed these and make them mountains, or you can be attentive to your desires. But to become attentive, you must assume you are already that which you wanted to be. Now, you've heard this mentioned a lot in a lot of the personal development information. You become what you think about. Act as if, imagine yourself feeling that what you want to feel. And now you've added more depth and dimension as to why this is so. One of the main reasons is that it programs your subconscious mind, reprograms it. If you can't and you have a hard time assuming the wish fulfilled, then realize that There's programming in the subconscious mind that's preventing you from doing so. And that's a good thing. It's revealing to you about yourself. Even the exercise reveals to you about yourself. But the more you practice it, the more your attention, your consciousness goes on to things that will empower you. You'll start to look at reality different. And then what you look at, what you pay attention on, and the meaning you give to it will support that wish fulfilled experience, the visualization. And then you'll find yourself more easily being able to visualize and do the exercise. That's why repetition is so important. That's why when you listen to things like The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale, you read Think and Grow Rich, you read it over and over again. You read your affirmations over and over again. In my subconscious mind training program, I mentioned creating the visualizations and playing them to yourself over and over again. Why? Because it's a two-part. You visualize by programming yourself, you do these things, and then you navigate reality. And reality starts to teach you and solidifies and crystallizes that vision and starts to bring it forth. And then you go back and you listen to it again and you believe it more and more. Understand something. Everything that you believe is because you were programmed to believe it. Either consciously you chose to believe it or others told you to believe it. And you can believe anything you want. The goal is to be in alignment and believe that which is empowering, okay? That which is a contribution to yourself, others, and evolution. If you do this, you will find the support, because this is divine, or this is where evolution is going. You are in alignment, as they say in the law of attraction circles, in alignment with the universe. No one to change but self. What I tried to tell you was this: we become what we contemplate, for it is the nature of love, as it is the nature of hate, to change us into the likeness of that which we contemplate. Last night, I simply read a news item to show you that when we think we can destroy our image by breaking the mirror, we are only fooling ourselves. You become what you think about. How you believe reality to work is the way it works. People reveal to us about ourselves, reveals to us if we're loving, or reveals to us if we're hateful. Understand something: transference and countertransference. Okay, Carl Jung did work on this. Study that stuff. Transference and countertransference. We transfer our state onto another person. When we bring an energy of love and the other person is receptive to it, they open up. When we are adamant and dominant and present and warm about that love, in other words, we assume that is how reality works, we not only bring it, but we draw people in who are the mirror of that. The same is to be said about hatred and anger and jealousy, or any of the negative emotions. It was easier living when I could blame another. It was much easier living when I could blame society for my ills, or point a finger across the sea and blame another nation. It was easier living when I could blame the weather for the way I feel. But to tell me that I am the cause of all my happiness to me, that I am forever molding my world in harmony with my inner nature, that is more than man is willing to accept. If this is true, to whom would I go? If these are the worlds or words of eternal life, I must return to them, even though they seem so difficult to digest. When man fully understands this, he knows that public opinion does not matter, for men only tell him who he is. The behavior of men constantly tell me who I have conceived myself to be. If I accept this challenge and begin to live by it, I finally reach the point that is called the Great Prayer of the Bible. It is related to the 17th chapter of the Gospel of St. John. I have finished the work which thou gavest me to do. John 17:4. You will change the world only when you become the embodiment of that which you want the world to be. You have but one gift in this world that is truly yours to give, and that is yourself. Unless you yourself are that which you want the world to be, you will never see it in the world. My mystical experiences have convinced me that there is no way to bring about the perfection we seek other than by the transformation of ourselves. We've discussed extensively throughout the videos in this channel, transformation of ourselves. A transformation. As soon as we succeed in transforming ourselves, the world will melt magically before our eyes and reshape itself in harmony with that which our transformation affirms. In my coaching and my consulting business, I have a lot of entrepreneurs that share with me how they wish to be at the position of maybe they see a more successful entrepreneur to be. And they feel very disheartened and discouraged because they're not there yet. And one of the things that I always tell them, as I said, my own personal experience is that who I am today is radically different than who I was a few years ago. Who I was a few years ago was radically different on how I used to be when I was 5 or 10 years prior to that. My entire view of reality has shifted. And the view that I have in reality has manifested the external, the experiences, the relationships, everything that I am. And I had gotten to a point, and this happened a number of times throughout the journey, where I was willing to let go of everything and every aspect of myself to be the mirror reflection of that I wanted to become. Okay, because you don't attract what you want, you attract who you are. You have to have the confidence and faith to transform yourself. Okay, you have to let go of the fears and that what holds you back. And we've discussed the how to do this in many videos. But that's what's required. If you believe that you can be who you are right now and create this vision that is not in alignment with who you are right now by taking who you are to there, then you're deluding yourself. Understand something. Transformation is a good thing. Transforming yourself, evolving yourself is part of the human journey. All species do this. We have the power to transform our mind. Okay, as human beings, we have the power to communicate with each other and ourselves and transform our minds to higher levels based on our thinking. And the only thing that holds us back is ourselves. So thus, one of the scapegoats, one of the things we do is we say the world needs to transform to adjust to the vision that we want by doing it our way. And that's a delusional and a very stressful path to go down, by forcing other people to do things your way. The way you got to do it, and the proper way of doing this, and I realized this on my journey, is to transform yourself within. And that's why I really like the Robert Dills model. Transform yourself within so you're in alignment with the vision. For example, if you want to be an entrepreneur, then there's some core fundamentals that you need to develop. You need to develop leadership, taking responsibility, a genuine desire and care for your clients, the desire to learn how to market, how to sell, and do these things where a lot of people might have a lot of resistance. So what we have to do is transform ourselves within. And we do this by programming our subconscious mind. This is one of the key premises of Neville's work, is that if you were to focus and visualize and imagine yourself fulfilling the wish, then what happens is that you reprogram your subconscious mind and reorient yourself to pay attention to those things, and you'll find yourself automatically enjoying and cultivating the desire to learn and enjoy environments and circumstances and people that you would have never dreamt to do so. You will find optimizations. You'll find things in yourself that you'll choose to develop and grow. All of a sudden, you might find yourself being interested in health and fitness. All of a sudden, you might find yourself in being more interested in public speaking. There's a lot of things that I'm interested in now as a result of the success that I have now that I was never interested in before. And I go about these things that I'm interested in with such joy and passion. And a large part of it is what I do on this channel, teaching. I never saw myself as a teacher, but something changed within myself. And I realized that leadership was important. And I started to get more into leadership because I kept focusing on the vision. And as a result of it, I improved my ability to teach, because leadership to me is ability to transfer knowledge to another person in a way that equals behavioral change. And I see it this way. When the student fails to learn, the teacher fails to teach. So I hold myself to that standard. I visualized that standard, and I became better at teaching, transforming. And as a result, people started coming up to me, wanting me to be their coach and their consultant. We fashion the world that surrounds us by the intensity of our imagination and feeling. And we illuminate or darken our lives by the concepts we hold of ourselves. Nothing is more important to us than our conception of ourselves, and especially is true of the concept of the deep, dimensionally greater one within us. Those that help us or hinder us, whether they know it or not, are the servants of that law which shapes outward circumstances in harmony with our inner nature. It is our conception of ourselves which frees or constrains us, though it may use material agencies to achieve this purpose. Finally, remain faithful to your idea. You cannot find a cause outside of your own consciousness. Your world is a grand mirror constantly telling you who you are. As you meet people, they tell you by their behavior who you are. It's easy to get angry and say, oh, this person didn't respond the way I wanted them to respond, therefore it's their fault. It takes a higher level of consciousness, which my aim is to instill this in you now, so that this is the norm. And you've got to continuously develop this till it's the norm. To see it as they're revealing to you about who you are and the energy you're putting out. If they're not in alignment, then you're not in alignment. Within, you can readjust your alignment within, and then you'll find yourself attracting the people that are in alignment. They will reveal to you your level of faith, your level of confidence, your self-esteem, and so forth. This is especially true in contexts like dating and sales or business deals, anything that involves another person in which your fears and insecurities and inconsistencies about yourself is revealed. And they will reflect it back to you. Remember that. And they're not reflecting it back to you to be malicious. They're reflecting it back to you as a service. They care about you. They might not necessarily be able to communicate really well to you and eloquently, but they will reveal it in the way that they know. And it is your job and your responsibility to understand what it means and what you need to do, not to them, but within yourself to evolve. Many persons, including myself, have observed events before they occurred. That is, before they occurred in this world of 3 dimensions. Since man can observe an event before it occurs in the 3 dimensions of space, then life on Earth proceeds according to plan, and this plan must exist elsewhere in another dimension and is slowly moving through our space. Your visions come from a higher purpose. They come from beyond. They're the visions of the universe to manifest. And it is your responsibility if you want abundance and the joy that comes as a result of manifesting this vision and the learning, because everything we're talking about here is a process. It's one of the key processes of life. Now, I came to this understanding because one of the things I always reflect upon every day is I always want to get the most and the highest and best use out of my time, my energy, my resources, and my opportunity cost. And I'm constantly looking for leverage and evolving in these areas, constantly with everything I do. And as a result of it, few key concepts, few key ideas stand out, few key mind calibrators stand out that when put emphasis on, fast track and accelerate results. And one of the main things is that you become what you think about, number 1. Number 2 is that when you realize that your job is to bring forth value, then a vision comes to you. And your goal is to learn how to bring that vision into reality faster. And what we're talking about here is how to bring it into reality faster. And that involves learning and growing yourself. So that means your time, energy, resources, opportunity costs is invested into growing yourself by understanding that everything in your reality is teaching you about yourself. When you have focus on what you want, the world is revealing to you and tons of data is presented to you. And you got to take that data and you've got to work with it. You can't just take a whole bunch of notes down. You can't watch this video and just take a whole bunch of notes down. You have to implement what we're talking about. You have to test it out for yourself. You have to test it out and realize how true this stuff is that I'm talking about. The habit of seeing only that which our senses permit renders us totally blind to what otherwise we could see. To cultivate the faculty of seeing the invincible, we should often deliberately disentangle our minds from the evidence of the senses and focus our attention on the invisible state, mentally feeling it and sensing it until it has the distinctness of reality. In order to do this, you have to cultivate faith. In order to do this, you have to have a certain level of self-confidence. And the way to develop faith and confidence is discussed in this video. By number 1, doing the exercise of the visualization. And number 2, realizing how everything in reality is actually helping you manifest that vision. Number 3, accelerated learning. And learning is not something you just sit down and do when you're watching a book or taking a course. You're learning all the time. Everything is teaching you about yourself. Take notes, understand the meaning you're giving to it. Refer back to the Robert Dilts model and categorize so you can work with that information from multiple perspectives. Take action and evolve those parts in yourself. Understand it's within yourself. Resist the urge to want to go and change another person before you go and change yourself. And realize that when others are ready for it, or you have acquired the experience or they'll come to you and you'll be able to share it with them. But the goal is to continuously evolve within yourself and bring forth your vision. Bring it forth. And we do it, again, through everything we've covered in this video and the other videos that I've shared on my channel. But the key is this. You have to see it all as one. Okay? You have to see reality all as one. The past, present, and the future all as one. And when you are in alignment with all past, present, and future, then you'll notice that your thoughts, your emotions, your actions are in alignment. And this is the journey. Going back to valuing time, energy, opportunity cost, if you want to get the most out of life, then you value developing yourself to be in alignment. Past, present, future. You do the things that bring you in alignment, past, present, and future. And you are practicing congruence. Your thoughts, your emotions, your actions, your words in alignment. And then you'll start to tap into even deeper meanings and deeper understandings, ones that I'll share in upcoming videos through various book discussions. And you'll notice something very profound. The reason why you came here was to learn how to do all these things. And the more you learn how to do these things, the more fulfillment you have, the more meaningful your life is, the more purposeful that you feel. Talk to anybody who has any purpose and meaning and reference what I'm discussing right here, and they'll say yes. Even though they weren't necessarily able to articulate it, these were the things that they were doing. So a lot of people contact me and say, how do you find meaning and purpose in your life? Well, pay attention to what stands out to you in this discussion and put it into action, and then you'll know what I mean. If you want a copy of this mind map, the link is in the description. Thank you very much for watching. I'll talk to you soon. Take care.